Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Again, my name is Adrian Williams, and I'm bringing to you part two of my 10-part series. And today, the title is Miscalculating the Repairs Needed to Get Your Rental Property Ready. Why are we going to talk about this? Well, again, as we talked about the other day, the rule of thumb. This is for some people who are just not ready, who haven't done their due diligence and not are ready for all the details that are involved in actually getting the property ready. And at the end of the day, this is going to be about your bottom line, which is your dollar. We're looking to buy rental real estate for a profit to get cash flow. So it's important that all things be taken into consideration to get this done. So some of the answers to your question is that a lot of people aren't aware of what it takes to be ready to repair property. So I did some research, and there's two sets of thoughts that go along with this. There's long-term rental property, and then there is flip and sells, where you're going to sell the property. And depending upon what you do will dictate your thought process. Okay? So let me explain that to you. If you are looking to long-term rental, your thought process for investment repair is not as diligent and not as thorough as it would be if you're selling the property. That's interesting, right? So what I'm saying is that if I'm looking to rent some property out long term, the repairs that I'm going to do as an investor are not going to be as serious as it would be if I was trying to sell the property. Why is that? Well, the question is that renters have a landlord, and they are not as particular about certain things. They don't see certain things, and they have an attitude that if it's broke, the landlord would fix it. And with the people that are buying property, they understand that there's not going to be any landlord, and they're going to have to fix it. So that is the mindset of the investor. So you should know exactly what it is you intend to do with your property. So if you're an investor, is this going to be long-term rental property, or are you fixing it to sell it? And depending upon which way you go will depend upon the amount that you're going to spend for your investment repairs. So as we move along, the two most expensive things that an investor should know in fixing property and investment property, the two most expensive things are the kitchens and the bathrooms. So the kitchens, you have your cabinets, you have your appliances, you have your countertops and things of that nature. So again, depending upon which way you're going will determine how you fix your kitchen. So normally speaking, an investor, if it's a rental property, he's going to try to get away with as much as he can, because again, the mindset of the renter is not as peculiar and fatigued as a buyer. A buyer wants everything immaculate. They don't want to hear anything. They want new this, new that, new that, and new that. So it's very important that you understand this for these two important places, the kitchens and your bathroom, because they are going to be your most expensive repairs as you move along. So also, an investor needs to understand that if a house is under $150,000, investors tend to use laminate tops for the kitchen. Okay, so I'm gonna say that again. If the house is worth under $150,000, they're going to try to use laminate for kitchen countertops and things of that nature. And if the house is above $150,000, they're going to use granite. So these are some of the things that, as an investor, you need to understand, again, what it is you're going to do with your property. Okay? Because again, these things will eat into your cash flow. Okay? Another big thing is cabinets in your kitchen. Okay? Again, if you're an investor and this is going to be long-term rental, then you're going to try and save the cabinets that are already there unless they're unrepairable. If you're looking to sell the house, then you're going to repair the cabinets. Okay? So basically, repairing cabinets, we're talking about, for a basic kitchen, we're talking about $3,000. Okay, these are the different things that you will need to understand. These are all the simple things that a person needs to understand when you're taking into consideration how much money you're going to spend. Because again, at the end of the day, this money is going to eat into your profit. So you need to know whether or not this is going to be rental or am I trying to sell this property. And you go according to that plan. So one of the other things that we look at, investors do not appreciate or do not like a lot of additions to houses. They don't like to have additions where they move rooms and move kitchens and bathrooms because it's too much work. Toilets, sinks, tubs, all that takes expenses, and then the labor cost from the plumbers is another thing. So we try not to get into too much of that. Okay, if it's a rental property, we might add a bedroom because again, the bedroom adds value to the apartment or to the house. Okay, the extra bedroom adds value. All right, so understand also that the more expensive the house, the more expensive the rehab is going to be. So normally speaking, expensive houses don't make percentage-wise a lot of money on the rehab as do the smaller houses, because the more expensive the house, the more expensive the upgrades are, and more expensive the upgrades, the more it's into your profit line. So beware if you're looking for sizes of houses, and you need to understand, you need to understand that the bigger the house, the bigger the rehab is going to be, the more expensive the rehab is going to be, because you're going to need upgradable items. And again, the more expensive the house, the more expensive the rehab. And your amount of money and profit that you make on expensive houses is not percentage-wise as much as it's going to be for the low one. Also, you need to take into consideration landscaping. People like nice yards, so you need to take that into consideration. You need to understand what is it going to take to get the yard the way it needs to be. One of the other things we need to talk about before we close this section out is mechanical items. So we're talking about air conditioners, water heaters, infrared heaters, all these different conditions and things like that we need to talk about. So again, it all depends on what you're doing with the house. So if you're selling the house, you need to replace these things. All right? You don't want a water heater breaking and flooding the house. If you're renting the house, you would have an inspector come in and make sure that these items are safe, and then you would wait until the item wore out All right, so these are different things that you would want to look at. The same goes for a roof. All right, all these different things you have to look at. How is the roof? So again, if it's a rental, you're going to try and save the roof. If it's selling, then you will replace the roof. So these are the things that need to be incorporated, the things that need to be talked about before you purchase some rental investment property. So in conclusion, at the end of the day, repair investment can take a lot of time and money. So you want to make sure that you understand the right way of what you're going to do with the property. Are you selling the property, or are you investing for long-term rental property? So with that being said, again, my name is Adrian. It's been nice talking to you today, and take it easy. All right, this is my little 3-year-old here. Take it easy, and I will see you on the next go around. Peace.